And welcome inside of Garth Pleasant Arena. Apologies for the technical difficulties there to begin our contest. It's the Rochester Christian Warriors and the Indiana Tech Warriors. Rochester Christian leads it out the gate 6-2. Stephen McDonald here with you, joined today by Noah Finley. Warriors of Rochester Christian, that is, come in after playing here just last night, 1 in 3 sets. Meanwhile, Indiana Tech comes in after a 3-2 win. Shante Hudgens gets to it for Rochester Christian. Right side, Geisenhaver's there for the Warriors. Mancona. Horn goes back to the left side for Mancona.
And as you mentioned, Stephen, both teams picking up a win last night. Indiana Tech in 5, Rochester Christian in 3. But over the last 5 games, both teams are 4-1. We'll get to the standings here in a minute in the conference.
Shante Hudgens pushes one from the middle. Had a solid game last night, 8 kills and 3 total blocks. Was second on the team last night in both those categories. Kiefer, who had an excellent game here last night, a season-high 35 assists. But after the Warriors jumped out early 6-2, suddenly looking at 6-5. This will be Elise McCutcheon on the serve. Sophomore from Evansville, Indiana. Shante Hudgens a bit offline on that attack, 6-6.
Yeah, Elsie McCutcheon's been a great addition for the Warriors this season. Started the season at the libero position. Since then, it's been Emmeline Wood. This will be her 6th game as the libero for Indiana Tech. But a lot of new faces for the Warriors of Indiana Tech this year. They're starting to get things going.
Geisenhaver tries to attack across court. And just like that, Indiana Tech in front. Kiefer comes all the way over, sets it up for Mancona. Mancona comes in 3rd on the team in kills this season after play last night.
Going to the conference standings, it's Aquinas at the top, undefeated in conference play. Rochester Christian right now sitting at 4th in the conference. Indiana Tech 6th in the conference heading into this afternoon.
Horn sprawls out for it. Kiefer dumped it over. Picked up a couple kills last night, did Kiefer, to go along with those 35 assists. Lobbed over the top by Mancona from the left. Geisenhaver watches this go out, but looks like they say it was deflected first.
Lauren Pasca put that one close. Rochester Christian just tipped it on a ball that was going to be close to the line.
Pasca's been a solid player for the Warriors this season. 4 matches with 10 or more kills. Has 3 other matches where she tallied 9. Speaking of 9, it's 9-7. Kiefer, and there it is, mentioned she can do that, just dumps it over. Indiana Tech not ready for it, but you have to be ready because she can and will do it. Hannah Maynard sits. Kendall Zeider checks in. Zeider, a team-high 10 kills here last night. Mancona on the serve. Good job after the run by Indiana Tech. Rochester Christian with a response. from the right side. Good, strong attack that time by Indiana Tech. Rochester Christian, though, was able to corral it. Mancona from the back row. Over to Zeider, had it returned. She'll get one more crack at it. And then Shante Hudgens up and over.
Saw a couple of really nice plays from both sides there. Ball just kind of pinballing around, but Hudgens just a little too strong, sending it over the net.
Rochester Christian comes into play today, 4-1 on their home floor after the win last night. Meanwhile, Indiana Tech 3-3 on the season, away from home, 3-2 in conference play on the road. And these are two teams, Noah, that want this game to be wrapped up in a hurry. Really good records when going 3 sets. Rochester Christian 9-4, Indiana Tech 10-2 in such games. Shante Hudgens buries it in the corner.
Yeah, both these teams have had a pretty busy week, as this will be the third game for both sides just since Wednesday. Both teams played on Wednesday and then last night. So I'm sure neither side would be complaining about a quick game here this afternoon.
Kiefer sets it back for Geisenhaver, then tipped right at the net by Olivia Everett. Give it to the Warriors. Mentioned Everett put the finishing touch on it. Indiana Tech, though, not happy with the call, or perhaps a lack thereof. Head coach Matt Fishman had a quick word about it. McCutcheon sits for Indiana Tech. Kiefer to Zeider.
Looks like that one was tipped. Saw Indiana Tech backing off, but somebody right there on the block got a piece of it. It's been back and forth here early on in the first set. Neither team has been able to pull away.
Kiefer turns and plays it for Horn. Now Geisenhaver looking for that far side and got it. Yeah, Noah, last night that was really the story for Rochester Christian. Was back and forth in that first set, but then towards the later stage of that set really did well to kind of pull away there and went up 1-0 on the night and then really never looked back as Zeider pops it up for Kiefer. 14-12, Warriors of Rochester Christian. Left side that time by Snyder. Diving out for it was Wood.
Well-placed ball right on the back line. Hannah Tyke serving. She's had a really strong season for the Warriors. Fourth in the conference in hitting percentage, fifth in both blocks per set and service aces per set.
To the right side, that was stuffed by Olivia Everett. She had Zeider there with her. Warriors did well in the block department last night against Northwestern Ohio, had 7 total blocks. Coming into play today as that one's rejected again. Everett's there twice.
A great job tracking the ball, staying in front, keeping those hands up. It's going to force Indiana Tech into a timeout here in the first set.
Coach Fishman calls time. It's 16-13 Rochester Christian. We'll stick with it here inside of Garth Pleasant Arena. take a look at some stats as we play into the middle stage of our opening set between the two Warrior teams. So far for Rochester Christian, Madeline Geisenhaver 3 kills. Everett and Hudgens have 2 apiece, but Everett back-to-back blocks there to force the timeout called by Indiana Tech. And then taking a look at Mackenzie Kiefer, 6 assists already in this opening set. If memory serves, believe she had 10 in the opening set here last night on her way to those season-high 35. On the other side for Indiana Tech, Pasca and Snyder each with 2 kills. Matlack has 2 assists. Wood, Alloway, and Astley each have 1.
Yeah, it's something we've seen from both teams really throughout the season is kind of kill by committee. There's a lot of hitters that can pitch in, but there's not really going to be one person who's going to drive either side throughout this entire season on the offensive attack.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Rochester Christian after the game last night, Geisenhaver with 8 kills in the match, getting north of 100 on the season. Everett was there again with some help from Geisenhaver. Rochester Christian now with 5 players all north of 100 kills on the season. Indiana Tech gets one back out of the timeout called. They have 1 remaining here in the first set, trailing by 2. Attack error charge to Everett. Kiefer to Geisenhaver, and that's blocked on the left side. Looks like Lauren Snyder was in there.
Yeah, both Snyder and the captain Alloway in on the block there. Give Indiana Tech a chance to tie this game back up.
Snyder, a sophomore from Woodburn, Indiana, known for her kills. Came in leading the team in kills so far this season, but gets the block there. Rochester Christian got one back, and their lead back to 2. That was tapped back by Matlack, the freshman. And then Shante Hudgens with a missile.
Yeah, that one split right through the block from Indiana Tech. Rochester Christian goes up by 3 here as you get toward the end stage of this first set.
Their 11th kill of this set. That's right where they've been about this season in terms of kills per set. Shante Hudgens goes again, got it again.
Yeah, Wood looked a little unsure on the near side. Opted to let it go right on the line.
For Hudgens, that's kill number 4 already for her on 8 total attacks. And again, this is kind of similar to what we saw last night from Rochester Christian, starting to pull away as Kiefer makes an effort for it right in front of us. Ashley Horn set to check back in. Everett checks out. Looks like, check that, looked like Maynard might have been heading out as well. She stays in. Ball finds her here. Geisenhaver from way outside that time. Couple steps outside the line.
The initial ruling was out by the line judge, and then he changes the decision. Schultz put right in the corner.
On the serve is McCutcheon. And that was just dropped over the top.
Going over the net there was Rochester Christian. Schultz was trying to track it down on the far side. Head coach Juliana Nash trying to get an explanation, maybe even plead her case on that ruling, but it will be Indiana Tech point.
Yeah, man, Kona was there for Rochester Christian. Just a little too far over the top that time. They'll get it back over to her here, and Shante Hudgens let that ball go. And frustrated with herself in doing so, ties us at 19, but that was kind of a sideways spinning ball. Not sure that there was a whole lot that Hudgens was going to be able to do with it. Kiefer wants Hudgens. Was clean that time with it. And then rejected it, but still in play. Hudgens, no doubt about it this time.
Yeah, I couldn't really see what happened from our vantage point, but Indiana Tech thought they kept it alive. The officials let play go, and in the end, it really didn't matter what the call was. Hudgens with a nice play.
That'll be her 5th. Kiefer up to 9 kills on the set. This one eats up Hannah Maynard. Horn makes a run at it. A kill for Amelia Schultz. That'll be her 3rd to lead Indiana Tech. Shante Hudgens with a try. That one goes right off the top of the netting.
That'll force Rochester Christian into a timeout as Indiana Tech takes a lead late here in the first.
That'll be their first of the first set, so both teams have now burned one in the opening set in what has been pretty much back and forth. Rochester Christian, again, we came on air late due to some technical difficulties. Rochester Christian jumped out early 6-2, but then Indiana Tech responded well after that, and it's been back and forth ever since. Schultz, as mentioned, has 3 kills now with that one just a moment ago. Pasca and Snyder each with 2. Matlack now with 5 assists on the other side for Rochester Christian. Hudgens has 5 kills, Geisenhaver with 3, and Mackenzie Kiefer with 9 assists. Ashley Horn contributing 3 of her own, while Olivia Everett had back-to-back blocks earlier this set, has 2 total blocks. Did well in that department last night with a team-high 4. And I tried to mention it before she got that first block earlier. Everett and Hudgens, such a dynamic duo in the block department this season. Both came in with at least 60 blocks on the season after play last night. Back to it out of the timeout.
Hannah Tyke with the kill. Indiana Tech looking to pull away here and take the first set from Rochester Christian.
And that will help. Hudgens from the middle had it blocked for Tyke. That's kill number 1 for the day. Came into play 3rd on the team in kills, with that last one now up to 137. Horn to Kiefer, sets it up for Geisenhaver. 23-20 Indiana Tech. Hudgens got a fingertip on it, but then couldn't turn and locate it. It's 24-20. Maynard looks and watches it go by. Maynard checks out. In comes Zeider. She'll be up front with Hudgens and Kiefer. Mancona will serve. Warriors down by 3 here in set number 1. Kiefer gets over to it. Shante Hudgens with number 6.
That one blew right by Indiana Tech setter Kristen Matlick. And now Coach Fishman going to use his final timeout.
his team up 2, needing just one more to finish out this first set. Calls time to make sure that his team can, in fact, get that final point that they need. Mentioned that's number 6 in the kills for Shante Hudgens. Last night, finished the contest with 8 against Northwestern Ohio on 15 total attacks. And she's already at 15 total attacks here in just the first set. Geisenhaver, 3 kills on 14 total attacks so far. Also 7 digs for Geisenhaver. So Indiana Tech out of timeouts here in the first. Rochester Christian has 1 remaining.
Indiana Tech going to take every last second of this timeout. Rochester Christian out on the floor. They're ready to go.
Out of the timeout, Mancona on the serve. Spinning ball finds its way out on the near side, 24-23.
Schultz tried to go all the way across to the other side. Just putting a little too much on it.
Serve is away by Mancona.
Pasca splits the block and secures the first set win for Indiana Tech.
A back and forth first set. Rochester Christian made things interesting there at the end, but Indiana Tech puts the capper on 25-23. As both teams switch sides and get ready for the second set, we'll take a quick timeout on the Rochester Christian Sports Network. Welcome back on the Rochester Christian Sports Network. Stephen McDonald here with you, joined this afternoon on the broadcast by Noah Finley. Indiana Tech takes set one, 25-23. Second set just about ready to get underway. Rochester Christian, couple home matches this weekend. Took down Northwestern Ohio 3-zip here last night. Their next game will be on Wednesday at Michigan Dearborn. Then they'll come back home for two on Friday the 10th, and then Wednesday the 15th. Those will be against Madonna and Lawrence Tech. Warriors overtook Lawrence Tech in the standings last night. Have a chance with a win and a loss by Madonna today to move up another spot into third. Madonna, tough weekend for them. As mentioned on the broadcast last night, had Cornerstone, who came into play this weekend, second in the conference, and then follow that up today with Aquinas, who's number one and undefeated in WAC play. Both those games coming on the road for the Crusaders. Second set is underway, and that's offline.
Yeah, unfortunately, for just about every other team in the conference, that's typically how it goes. You just make a road trip out to Grand Rapids, and then you play Aquinas and Cornerstone back-to-back days. Teams that have been two of the three top teams in the conference for the past several years. Always ends up being a tough road trip.
Official right in front of us initially pointed in the direction of Rochester Christian. That was off of them, though, on the block attempt by Everett and Geisenhaver. Horn dumps it across. Up to the front it goes.
Claim a tip there from Rochester Christian. It was Alloway on the attack. Will be Tyke to serve again.
Kiefer wants to set it up for Mancona. Coming all the way over. Nice individual effort there. This time swings it over to Geisenhaver. That'll be number 4 for Geisenhaver. Under it goes Wood, and that was returned by Shante Hudgens. Always a good sign when Hudgens can sky for one of those and then comes down with that head nod of hers. Go back to the left side and down the line by Lauren Snyder.
Everett with the service error there. Rochester Christian stays out in front. But this one early on looks very similar to the first set. Just kind of back and forth, neither team taking control. I have a feeling it's going to be like this all afternoon long.
Mancona from the left side very alertly just kind of pushed it up the line there in close. Geisenhaver with the serve. Warriors did well on the serve last night against Northwestern Ohio. Hasn't been the case so far for them this afternoon. 3 service errors, no aces just yet. Have to get it over and do. Shante Hudgens was directing traffic as Kiefer pushed it over. And Hudgens got a hand on it again. Attack error by Lauren Snyder. That's her 4th error this afternoon, just 3 kills so far. Try to get it through the middle. Couple subs getting ready to check in for Indiana Tech. Pasca comes in. Snyder will sit. Pasca comes back in, 3 kills on the match so far. Geisenhaver had it blocked.
I believe that was Pasca who blocked it. Alloway was in the area as well. But neither team has played a very clean game. Both teams hitting under 100. It's really been a match about making your opponent make the mistakes. And too many hits. That one did not get over the net for Rochester Christian, so it'll be McCutcheon serving with a tie game, 6-6.
Yeah, and to your point about the errors, Noah, 7 errors in that first set by Indiana Tech, 11 by Rochester Christian. Both teams will look to clean it up a bit as this game rolls on. Rochester Christian gets one back as that one looking for the corner doesn't find it.
Both teams have been pretty good in serve receive as well. Only 1 ace so far here as we're in the second set. Schultz trying to claim that there was a tip. That will not be the ruling.
Geisenhaver on the other end of that did well, just twisting out of the way at the last second. Matlack set it up. Geisenhaver punches it forward for Kiefer. And that ball smoked in the direction of Horn. See which way this goes. Zeider got it over. Last touched by Indiana Tech before it made its way out.
Yeah, Schultz was right there, just went off the side of her hand and out.
Horn on the serve. She's done well on the serve in her Warriors career.
Good placement there by Pasca. Looked like it could have been ruled either way, right on the backside of the back line.
Everett with a boom to the floor.
Yeah, heater goes right by Indiana Tech libero Emmeline Wood. Looked like she didn't have much time to get her hands in position.
And then on the other side, coming right back, is Hannah Tyke with a missile of her own. For Tyke, that'll be her second kill of the afternoon. Came into play this weekend, just under 7 kills per match over 8 conference games. Just haven't called her name a ton yet this afternoon. Come this way for Zeider. Now opposite side for Geisenhaver.
Strasma put that one right on the top of the net. Ended up going in Indiana Tech's favor as they tie it back up. Really not much you can do from a defensive standpoint on those type of attacks.
Then Boehner's serve finds its way to the netting. Roraff and Zider sit. Maynard will serve. Maynard last night had a couple aces back-to-back before Rochester Christian closed out one of those 3 sets in the win. Horn wants Mancona. Couple Warriors converge, somehow get it over to Geisenhaver, but too strong. And again, the errors just really killing both these teams right now. 26 combined attack errors by the 2 Warrior squads. We're tied at 11 here, second set. Indiana Tech took the opener 25-23. Kiefer to Mancona. Left side for Snyder. Back over to Mancona.
Kiefer looks a little frustrated with herself that she couldn't get that one up. Nice diving effort. The Warriors of Indiana Tech out in front 12-11. Tyke back to serve. She'll pick up another service ace, forces Rochester Christian into their first timeout, but Tyke averaging about half a service ace per set, as I mentioned earlier, which is 5th in the conference. Picks up another one there.
That'll be their second ace on the afternoon for service errors as well. Rochester Christian has 3 errors off the serve so far. Shante Hudgens leads the match with 6 kills. Geisenhaver with 4, Everett and Zider with 3 apiece. On the other side for Indiana Tech, it's Schultz with 5 kills, Pasco with 4, and then Alloway and Snyder each with 3. Both sides so far 4 blocks. Rochester Christian last night had 7 total in that 3-0 win over Northwestern Ohio. Tyke to serve, out of the timeout called by Rochester Christian. To Mancona. Now Everett, that one's blocked.
The senior Alloway right in front there. Kept the hand strong, sent it right back to Rochester Christian.
Mancona tries again. And you mentioned it, Noah, towards the top of our broadcast, the fact that this is the 3rd time in about 4 games that these teams have played this week. Indiana Tech playing in 5 sets just last night, not showing any sort of fatigue. Have played really well since starting out the afternoon trailing 6-2. But Shante Hudgens gets one closer, 14-13.
I could be wrong, but I don't think we've seen a lead more than 3, maybe 4 for either side. Indiana Tech looked like they were going to start separating themselves from Rochester Christian, but now here they come, going on a little run. That'll be 3 in a row to tie this game right back up. It was 14-11, now 14-14. Start to see one team gain a little bit of momentum, and then The other side comes right back.
Left side, just off the mark. Shante Hudgens was there for the block attempt.
Yeah, that's a freshman, Kiera Hans. I believe that's her first time in the game. They go to her early. She's able to tool the block and give Indiana Tech the lead right back.
Matlack to serve, the freshman from Norwalk, Ohio. Geisenhaver, strong left-handed try there. To Mancona. And they'll let this go out. Lead for Indiana Tech goes back to 2, 16-14. Rochester Christian comes into play this afternoon, 6-3 in conference play. Indiana Tech not far behind at 5-4. After both teams picked up a win last night, Rochester Christian with the kill.
Yeah, that one hit right to Boner. She started to go for it. I don't know if somebody may have jumped in her way up front, but Indiana Tech gets a couple, then Rochester Christian trying to string a couple together as well.
Alloway with a strong attack. For Alloway, that's number 4. Matlack, 12 assists. Shante Hudgens had it tapped right back to her, lost her balance, and was unable to keep it going.
Now the Warriors front there. Indiana Tech's front doing a nice job. They just barely got a piece of that ball to keep it on Rochester's side of the net.
Geisenhaver makes a good play for it. Hudgens helped her out getting it over.
Four-point lead now for Indiana Tech. Might be the largest one we've seen in either set thus far. Imagine if Indiana Tech gets another here, we might see a timeout from Rochester.
Kiefer to Hudgens. Under it is Wood. Maynard comes over. Good job on the reaction there right at the front of the net by Kiefer. Would definitely like to see, as Mancona goes back to serve, would like to see on the attack more of Mancona and Zeider. Both have 3 kills apiece, as Kiefer tried to catch them off guard there. Shante Hudgens had some help from Kiefer that time. Those two try to connect again, but into the netting it goes.
There's a couple of really nice plays from Tech setter, the freshman, Kristen Matlick, laying out for a couple to keep it going for Indiana Tech.
They'll watch the serve go off the back line, get it back to within 3. Fifth service error charged to Indiana Tech. Rowraff sends it forward for Kiefer. Everett took something off it and got it to go.
Mentioned it's kind of been a committee for both sides throughout the season. It's been Alloway who started to take over. She's had a really nice second set. She leads Indiana Tech. 6 kills, no errors on 13 attempts. She's hitting .462. On the other side, it's Shante Hudgens. 7 kills on 21 attempts. We've seen quite a few errors, as we've talked about throughout the broadcast. for both sides are really starting to add up. 12 for Indiana Tech, 18 for Rochester Christian on the attack. The Warriors have boosted their hitting percentage here in the second set. Both teams were below 100 in the first set. Indiana Tech up to 111. Rochester Christian at 044.
For Everett, the last kill that sent us to the timeout was number 4. The assist for Kiefer, number 17. Gets it back to within 2, and Coach Fishman again, kind of similar to what we saw at the tail end of the opening set, calls time as Rochester Christian inches just a little bit closer, wants to make sure that his team can put the finishing touches on this second set. So both teams will have 1 timeout remaining.
You know, when the schedule comes out early in the year, I'm sure that this was one that Indiana Tech thought might be an easier game following the struggles that Rochester Christian had last year. But they've been a very pleasant surprise. 7 wins last season. Right now they're sitting at 12-7 on the year, just putting up a really good fight against Indiana Tech, who, while they have had their struggles this season, is still a pretty solid team in the conference.
Roraff calling it out all the way, and she was correct. Yeah, and that's something that even going back just a couple weeks ago, I got a chance to talk with head coach Juliana Nash about the start of the season that this team had and the success that they had early on, and she really credited that to a lot of the returning players, as most of these players this year have been together now for the last 2-3 years, and then being able to add a player like a Kendall Zeider and what she's brought to this team as well. Also had a chance to catch up with women's basketball head coach Jared Ocampo last night at the game, and told me, believe it or not, Kendall Zeider, a better basketball player probably, probably her better sport of the two. So Warriors fans can feel pretty good about that after seeing what she's done for this team on the volleyball court.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that she's even better on the basketball court than she is on the volleyball court. A very special player for Rochester. They are climbing their way back into this game. They've strung a couple together. It's 22-20.
Line drive serve by Maynard. That was deflected and out. Indiana Tech needs a couple more to go up 2-0 on the afternoon. Everett dropped it over, coming all the way this way, keeping it in. And then looks like that was Everett on the end of that for Rochester Christian.
Indiana Tech, they run 2-setter rotation, so that was Astley in as the setter right now for Indiana Tech. She made a nice play to keep it alive, but then a nice play from Rochester Christian putting it out of her reach.
(24-21) Indiana Tech looking to go up 2-0. Rochester Christian 4-1 at home this season. Their last 6 matches have all been in 3 sets. They're 4-2 in that span, and there it is, the final tally of this second set. Indiana Tech will take it 25-21, go up 2-0 on the match.
Yeah, it's been a really fun first couple of sets, even for both sides. Even though Rochester Christian trails 2-0, it's been back and forth all the way up until the end, and then it's been Indiana Tech who's been able just to separate themselves just enough to come away with that win in the set. But Rochester Christian, they've been keeping it close. They've been battling for all of, if not the majority, of both sets.
Indiana Tech looking to go to 6-4 in conference play this season if they can get that third and final set coming up. Rochester Christian, meanwhile, looking to go 7-3, but they've got an uphill battle in order to do so. At this point, would need the reverse sweep in order to get that 7th win and a chance to move into that 3rd spot in the conference standings behind Aquinas and Cornerstone. Some stats from these first 2 sets. Alloway and Schultz with 6 kills apiece to lead Indiana Tech. Right behind them are Pasca and Tyke. Pasca with 5, Tyke with 3. Matlack up to 14 assists now. Astley with 9. On the other side for Rochester Christian, Shante Hudgens with 7 kills, also has a block. Geisenhaver and Everett with 5 kills apiece. They also have 2 total blocks each. And Mackenzie Kiefer with 18 assists on the afternoon after putting up a season-high 35 last night in the win.
Be interesting to see what changes, if any, either side makes here. It's kind of a do-or-die set for Rochester Christian. Knowing Indiana Tech from the past, they're not going to take their foot off the gas. And they're still, they're going to come in here and try and get the sweep. We mentioned it earlier. Both teams would be happy for a quick game. Obviously, right now, Rochester Christian, they would look to get that reverse sweep. But Indiana Tech, they're going to be coming out hot here, you would imagine, to start this 3rd set. So curious to see what changes Coach Nash might make for her side.
If Rochester Christian can get it to a 5th set, it would be just the 3rd time this season that they would play 5. The last time came back on September 13th against Ohio Christian, fell 3-2 in that contest. The other matchup going 5 was against Rio Grande in their 2nd game on all the way back on August 22nd. In fact, that was the 2nd game of the day on that opening day. Knocked off West Virginia Tech 3-0 in the previous game that day.
I mentioned just last night, Indiana Tech went 5. The last time they went to a 5th set was back in August the 22nd against University of the Cumberlands, where they eventually fell. That was the only time that they've gone to a 5th set this season outside of last night.
We'll see if we get to that point. 3rd set, in the meantime, is underway. Everett goes back and forth with Zeider. To the left side that time. Come back to the left. Indiana Tech really testing that left side.
Some people in the crowd trying to claim that there was a tip maybe. I didn't see it, and Indiana Tech starts hot. They go up 2-0 early. Another service ace for Hannah Tyke.
Just blistered the serve right at Rowraff that time. Looked like she wanted to go right back in that direction. Geisenhaver cut off its path, but still finds its way to the floor. It's 3-0. Kiefer To the left for Geisenhaver. And that's too strong.
Strasma had an opportunity there to really put Indiana Tech up. You go up 4-0. Just too strong on the attack. It'll give Rochester Christian a chance to settle into this third set.
Serve came from Hannah Maynard.
Yeah, it looked like Strasma was trying to push that to her right side. Maybe she had seen an opening there, just couldn't get her hand cleanly on the ball.
Maynard gets to it.
A little too strong on the set there and goes off the antenna. See Matlick into the game for Astley.
Matlack with 14 assists on the afternoon. Has 20 or more assists coming into play this weekend in 16 of the 20 games prior to last night. The freshman so consistent for this Indiana Tech team this season.
That one right off the top of the tape and drops on Rochester Christian's side, and it's a 4-point lead for Indiana Tech. Yeah, Matlick had a really strong start to the season for the Warriors. And then since then, they've kind of switched up, gone to that two-setter rotation.
Everett puts on the stopper there, adding to her kill total. She'll go back to serve. That ace a moment ago for Matlack was her second of the afternoon.
Hans with the kill. Usually don't see her early on in the games. Indiana Tech will kind of throw her in. I think she comes in more around the third set. Saw her late in the second set. But once she's in the game, she can be a difference maker, still just a freshman.
Pasca came in for Indiana Tech. The serve came from McCutcheon.
Saw a nice play from Indiana Tech, but then maybe some confusion after that ball was kind of hanging in the air. 3-point lead for Indiana Tech as Rochester Christian tries to get their way back in.
See if they can get it over, and they do. Had to go all the way back for it. And then Mancona, as Indiana Tech was scrambling back into position, noticed it and just got it into some open space, gets it back to within two.
Yeah, bodies on the floor, people out of system after Wood tracked it down. An opportunity for Rochester Christian, and they took advantage of it.
And they'll take that as well. 7-6. Geisenhaver on the serve for the Warriors. Couple Indiana Tech Warriors met at that ball. For Mancona, went right at McCutcheon. Kiefer wants to set up Hudgens, who swings and misses.
Yeah, it didn't look like it was great positioning there for Hudgens. Kind of looked like the set was behind her. She tried to make it work, just didn't happen.
Kiefer. Geisenhaver just punched it over. Into the corner and got it inside the line. Maynard went sliding in but let it go, and it found that line anyway.
You can see the shocked look and reaction from the Rochester Christian bench. Coach Nash having a word with the official. Everybody in that area had what looked like a pretty good view at it. Point goes to Indiana Tech, though.
Their lead back to 3. Geisenhaver kind of leaning back that time as it goes into the netting. Indiana Tech took the opening set 25-23, took set 2 25-21. Rochester Christian has really been in it since the beginning, just hasn't been able to make a couple plays to really make the difference. That's where Indiana Tech's kind of gotten them today. And that'll lead to a timeout called by Rochester Christian, their first of this third set, as they trail by 5.
Yeah, I think this might be the largest lead now that we've seen at any point in this game. A 5-point lead for Indiana Tech, 11-6. Coach Nash is going to try and gather her team together here. We've seen them come back, although it's been relatively close all throughout this game. We've seen them battle back and even take the lead at times. Certainly have their back up against the wall here, trailing 2-0.
Indiana Tech coming into play today, 10-2 in 3-set matches, looking to make it 11-2. Would also be their 4th win on the road this season, and all 4 coming in conference play. Mancona to the back row with it, where she finds McCutcheon. Under it is Matlack.
It was a great play by Horn, laying out and tracking down the short serve from Wood. But then Schultz making them pay as they got back.
Kiefer wants Hudgens. See if that sparks something for Rochester Christian. Just looking for answers right now, trailing 13-7. That'll send back Mancona to serve. 5 kills on the day for Mancona.
Here comes Rochester Christian. 2 in a row. Mancona going to try and keep it going. Still a 5-point lead for Indiana Tech, but if they can kind of ride on some of this momentum, they can get right back into this game.
First ace of the afternoon by Mancona, just the team's second. And then Shante Hudgens, who else, in there with Mackenzie Kiefer. And this is a player on the serve in Mancona that if you're Rochester Christian, and that's why you want on the serve right now to try and work your way back into this set.
And we're going to see a change here from Indiana Tech. Ivy Ayers, they called a couple of girls up from their JV squad this week. Elsie McCutcheon goes out, Ayers into the game. First one hit at her, she let it go. The whole Warrior Indiana Tech bench thought it was out. They see a player in the game for the first time here in the third set. They're going to be attacking her.
Mancona came into play today, just 5 aces on the season, had 36 a season ago. Even had 5 in one game last year. That was here against Northwestern Ohio. Gave this team a bit of a spark there on the serve, but still find themselves down by 3. She checks out. Kiefer to Zeider. Kiefer comes over, gets it to Hudgens.
I believe that went off the antenna before it landed out. It's back to a 5-point lead for Indiana Tech.
The errors continue to pile up for Rochester Christian. That last one, their 25th of the day.
Some confusion for Indiana Tech here. I don't know if they were called out of system. But it's Astley who had the serve, coming over to talk to the official. She'll report back to Fishman. I always find it funny when you send the one player just going back and forth. Coach is not allowed to talk to the up judge.
After the discussion, it'll be Horn to serve. Kiefer into the middle for Everett. And again, Rochester Christian, as they've done all afternoon, just kind of hanging around, but just need to find a couple more plays to string together if they want to stick around in this match. And Ashley Horn gives them one.
You'll see McCutcheon come back into the game for Ivy. Ivy Ayers, who came in to replace her.
Send it all the way over to the left side. Diving out for it was Roraf. Got it up and over.
Pike able to get it through the block. Changes for Indiana Tech as they go back into the serve. Just a 3-point lead this time.
Pasca and McCutcheon sit for Indiana Tech. Kiefer tried to catch them leaning. And unfortunate for Rochester Christian there, everybody kind of coming forward. There was nobody along that back row, and that's where it went. Come back to the left. Kiefer has to come all the way over. Couple Warriors were in the area there before that ball was deflected. 19-14, they'll watch the serve go out.
Boner too strong on the serve. Gives Rochester Christian a chance here, trailing by 4.
Kiefer's serve is away.
Hans just looked like she couldn't get all of it on the attack there. And Coach Fishman going to use a timeout as Rochester Christian still lingering around after a hot start from Indiana Tech.
Coach Fishman has been pretty smart with some of these timeouts that he's used, even with his team out in front. Notices that anytime Rochester Christian really gets it to within maybe 2 or 3, wants to make sure that that's all they get out of it.
And that's great coaching. A lot of times your team just needs a break. They just need a quick reset. Maybe they just need some advice when they're struggling. Call that timeout before you allow the other side to really get back into this game. But on the other side, it also gives Coach Nash some time to talk to her team as well. They're starting to find some momentum. Still hanging around with Indiana Tech here in the third set.
Errors have been a problem for Rochester Christian today. Had 11 back in the first set, 7 in the second set, and already 8 here in the third. Meanwhile, Indiana Tech better in that area, 7 in the first set, and then 5 in each of the last 2. Kiefer's serve out of the timeout is away. Rochester Christian hanging on for dear life right now, trailing by 3 on the set, down 2-0 on the match. Horn comes over.
Yep, judge is the one who changed the call, saw the line judge rule it out, and he kind of looked like he just overruled him. He'll have everybody over to have a discussion. Oh, this is actually a really big call at this point in the game. Looks like they will award it to Indiana Tech. Puts them up by 4 and the ball in their hands. Probably the last person Rochester Christian wants to see serving is Hannah Tyke right now.
Tyke 5 kills, 2 aces. Geisenhaver steps into one, had it blocked. Looked like Strasma was one of the Warriors there. Kiefer down the middle for Zeider. Rorath turning, plays it ahead for Zeider. Indiana Tech needs 3 more for the sweep. They would go to 11-2 in 3-set matches this season in 3 more points. Horn was calling for it, but Geisenhaver got there first. Indiana Tech puts it down. It's 23-16.
Yeah, Hans has been a difference maker here late in the game. Rochester Christian starting to creep back in. And Hans, the freshman, with a couple of kills here in the third set. He's now tied for a team high 7 kills in the afternoon.
On just 11 total attacks as well, so hitting it at a very solid percentage. Her team in the lead and in a good spot to finish this one out, 24-17.
You have to see absolute perfection now from Rochester to keep this game going.
And you talk about that offensive balance, as that will do it. Final point for the Warriors, 25-17, the final in this third set. It doesn't get much more balance offensively than having 4 players, all with 7 kills, as Hans, Alloway, Schultz, and Pasca did for Indiana Tech in this win this afternoon. On the other side for Rochester Christian, Shantae Hudgens finishes with 9 kills and 2 blocks. Olivia Everett, 7 kills and 2 total blocks. Geisenhaver with 5 and 2. And Mackenzie Kiefer, despite some of the struggles the Warriors had offensively this afternoon, still finishes with 23 assists on the match. And Noah, as we get ready to sign off, some of your final thoughts from this one.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly a clean game from either side. It was just about who could find a way to win, and it was a great match. The first 2 sets really back and forth all the way through. It was Indiana Tech in a close one in both of the first 2 sets, and then here in the third, they were able to separate themselves a little bit at the beginning and then just kind of maintain that all the way through. They finished hitting 178. Rochester hitting just 16. We talked about the errors really all throughout. 9 service errors for Indiana Tech. Only 3 from Rochester Christian. They were really clean serving the ball. But outside of that, the errors just stacked up against Rochester Christian a little too much. But still a lot to take away from this game. I mean, like I said, they kept it close for the first 2 sets, and then they were even competitive down the stretch here in the third set before they ultimately fell. It was just that beginning of the third set that just kind of made it too much for them to come back from.
Indiana Tech, with the win this afternoon, improves to 6-4 on the conference season. Rochester Christian, meanwhile, falls to 6-4 after going 1-2 on the week. Fell back on Wednesday at Aquinas before picking up a win here last night against Northwestern Ohio. So that is how these teams will exit the week. They'll both be in action again on this coming Wednesday. But for one final time, for my broadcast partner, Noah Finley, and our SID, Andrew Ripke, I'm Stephen McDonald saying so long from Garth Pleasant Arena, where your final score one final time is Indiana Tech 3 and Rochester Christian 0. This has been a presentation of the Rochester Christian Sports Network.